Here I'm using some epoxy to fill in all the gaps, the cracks and the holes on the slab. And this will sit overnight. And then I will sand the slab down. Now I'm starting to cut the 2x6 pine for the legs, and I'm going to cut 4 pieces. I'm going to make them longer than the size I need, and I'll trim them up later. Now here I'm using a 180 grit followed by 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to sand the whole slab from front to back. Now I'm doing my glue up for the legs, and I'm going to make 2 parts to this. So I'm going to take a little small board and spread that glue out nicely. Clamp it up, and I'll leave it clamped up overnight. Now that it's dried up overnight, I'm going to cut the sides down, and I'm just bringing that blade halfway up, then I'll flip it around and cut the other side. It's a lot easier on the blade and on the saw, and I will do this to both sides. Basically, I'm just shaving the sides of it. And I will do this to both pieces. Now I'm going to trim the legs to the size I need. And the table height is going to be 30 inches tall. So the slab is 3 inches. I'm cutting these at 27 inches long. Now I'm going to split it in half. And I will do this to both of them, and that will give me 4 legs. I'm using 1x6 pine for the frame. And I am just cutting them to the size I need. And I will be cutting 4 pieces. Once I have these cut, I'm just going to put a little bit of a design on here. I'm just taking a pencil and just drawing lines randomly on all 4 pieces. And I will be cutting these out on the bandsaw. And again, it doesn't have to be perfectly on the line. I'm just cutting them randomly. It doesn't have to be perfect. And all 4 pieces don't have to be the same either. Now I'm going to drill 2 pocket holes on each side, and I will be using 1.5-inch pocket hole screws to assemble the frame together. On this one here, I'm going to be putting a drawer, so I'm just using the router bit on the router table to cut a hole for my drawer to fit in. And now I'm doing my assembly, and I'm using 1.5-inch pocket hole screws. Now these pieces were all sanded as well with 220 grit. Now I'm going to secure it to the base, the top, and I'm using 2-inch screws on the 3 sides, and on the last side where it's a bit thin there, I'm using 1.25 inch. I'm installing 2 pieces, one on each side. This is where my drawer slide is going to be screwing into, and I'm using 8-inch drawer slides for this. Now I'm going to start to build the drawer. Now it's a small drawer. This is just to hold the deck of cards and the pegs for the game. And I'm just using brad nails to fasten it. A 3/16 board on the bottom. And I'm using 3/4 inch pins. Here I'm screwing the drawer slides into position, and then I will be taking them off for when I stain and finish. I'm going to be using a deck of cards to position my drawer front. Here I'm going to mark for the center of the drawer pull. Then I will drive a pilot hole into place into the drawer, and then drive a screw in through that. And that's just going to hold it into place while I drive the screws in from the back side. Once I have that done, I'll back out that screw in the middle and install a drawer pull. The color I'm using here is dark walnut, so I'm going to just brush this on, wipe it down. I don't let the stain sit too long because I want that grain to pop. And I'm just putting one coat on. Now I drew out the board game. This is a Cribbage board game. And I drew it out on a piece of paper, and that's my template. I'm just going to take a hole punch and hole punch the center of every square. And then I will follow that with a drill bit, an 1/8 of an inch drill bit. You just got to take your time and be patient with this. Now I'm going to use some epoxy, and I'm going to put 2 coats on this just to fill in all the big gaps in that, just so it's more sturdy, because it's very, very thin. If you look on the side there, there's not much hanging on there, so I want it to soak into as much as I can to just sturdy up the table a bit, and it gives a nice revealing look. Now I'm spraying a sand and sealer on the base and the top side of the table. Let it dry for about 20 minutes and then sand it down with 220 grit. Here I'm using a pre-cat lacquer, and I'm spraying 3 coats, and I'm putting a coat in between every 15 minutes. Here I'm assembling the drawer, putting the drawer front back on and installing the drawer. Now I put numbers and a start and finish lettering on the top. My camera, my battery died on the camera, so I didn't catch that part, but you just got to take your time and just number all the way around. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.